Hello, dear friends. I have always suspected that personal computers and cell phones have a backdoor to keep an eye on us, and this information confirms it. But there are more doors we don't know about. Sometimes we notice when someone gets into a PC because it starts doing weird things. Opinion piece. Your PC is spying on you. Suspicion of operating system trickery. There is a keylogger spyware module. The good news is that it can be deactivated. People suffer from poverty and homeless. The dollar has been falling for a year. The European Union has managed to balance its budget. We are living in an economy in free fall. China is buying gold on a massive scale. Ignorance is the real disease of the world. Dogecoin falls after Elon Musk calls it a hustle. Chile-Bolivia train route reestablished after 16 years. Kaaba's black stone photographed in high resolution. Let's start. All Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and Tor fanatics should know that it has secretly installed a backdoor keystroke logger on all Windows operating systems to let the slash know everything about your Bitcoin transactions. Windows 10 secretly listens to everything you say and records all your keystrokes with a hidden keylogger that is uploaded to Microsoft according to Ethan Huff. Hidden within Microsoft's Windows 10 operating system software is a keylogger spyware module that records users' keystrokes and voices and sends it to private data directly to a central station. A keylogger is a type of software or a specific hardware device that records keystrokes made on the keyboard and then stores them in a file or sends them over the internet. It is often used as a daemon malware, allowing other users to access important passwords such as credit card numbers or other private information. Windows 10. Another feature of software platform that was originally designed by billionaire Bill Gates, the Windows 10 keylogger add-on was supposedly intended for testing, not everyday use. And yet the later is that what it became, even though most users have no idea it exists. Microsoft reluctantly admitted when pressed that we may collect voice information and typed characters from users without their knowledge or express consent. Now we learned that the Washington-based corporation is doing just that. I said that I seriously doubt that the worst features of spyware will remain in the finished product, wrote PC World contributing editor Lincoln Spector. I was wrong. He added. Windows 10's voice typing and privacy FAQ admits that when a user interacts with a Windows device by speaking or typing, Microsoft collects voice and typing information, including information about your calendar and contacts. Microsoft's privacy statement reiterates this, although it contains all sorts of additional information in the form of 17,000 words that take some time and effort to read carefully. Disable. The good news is that Windows 10's keylogging feature can be turned off, or so it seems. by clicking Settings in the left pane of the Start menu, followed by clicking the Privacy button. A Windows 10 user will find a checkbox to turn it off, and all at the bottom, of course. Once under Privacy, go to the General section and uncheck Send information to Microsoft about how I write to help us improve writing in the future. Spectre explains. While you are there, examine the other options and consider if there is anything else here you want to change. To prevent Windows 10 from collecting your speech, you should also go to the Speech, Inking and Writing section and click Stop Knowing Me. This same area contains options to stop Microsoft from collecting data from your camera, microphone, contacts and calendar. I wish I had that capability on Android. Spectre notes, suggesting that smartphones are prone to similar spying without the option to disable it. Microsoft has also boasted that it is one of the major corporations responsible for remaking the Chinese economy. Meanwhile, Microsoft is quietly applying spying technologies like this that would make even the most strict Chinese communists blush with envy. Short news. Dogecoin falls after Elon Musk calls it a hustle. Dogecoin lost more than a third of its price Sunday after Tesla chief and cryptocurrency supporter Elon Musk called it a hustle during the Saturday Night Live TV show. Elon Musk admits to having Asperger's syndrome. The entrepreneur has Asperger's syndrome, a condition that, while affecting social interaction and the ability to plan for the future, also helps to develop alternative strategies and allows remembering large amounts of information. According to the Asperger Confederation, this syndrome affects social interaction, as well as communication and the ability to plan for the future, but at the same time helps to generate alternative strategies, promotes perfectionism, and allows remembering a large amount of information. In childhood, people with this syndrome are generally extremely good at memory skills, and many excel in mathematics and science. South America. Chile-Bolivia train route reestablished after 16 years. Railway operators are establishing a train system to bring Bolivian exports to Chile's Pacific ports for the first time in 16 years, hoping for an increase in regional trade. The world may run out of copper. A commodities strategist at Bank of America warned that inventories measured in tons are at a level seen more than a decade ago. This could send copper soaring and lead analysts to believe that the metal could become the new oil. Chile is the world's largest copper producer. 36 indigenous peoples asked for enough of terricide in Argentina, in a march of 2,000 kilometers. They are women for the 36 native nations that populate the Argentinian territory. They began to walk on March 14 from different parts of the country to convention May 22nd in Buenos Aires. Their request for help to the state and society to stop extractivism is written in steps, since their voices have been historically silenced. Sharp rise in soybean prices in Argentina. Severe droughts affected crops in the country that ranks third in the world in soybean production, which became the worst in 10 years in the cold zone of the humid pampas. Despite the oilseed reaching record prices in 2021, producers do not see the benefits due to complex local conditions. There were severe droughts that affected crops in the country that ranks third in the world in soybean production, which became the worst in 10 years in the cold zone of the humid pampas. Despite the oilseed reaching the record prices in 2021, producers do not see the benefits due to complex local conditions. Middle East. The black stone of the Kaaba photographed in high resolution. Technology has managed to cross borders and bring treasures that were previously reserved only for a selected group to millions of people. Now, the Saudi entity in charge of administering the mosques of Mecca and Medina has published a high-resolution photo of the black stone of the Kaaba, located in the holiest site of Islam. The black stone consists of 8 small rocks attached to a large stone enclosed in a silver frame, because it was fractured in 683 by heat caused during a fire. It is located inside the Kaaba, in the Masjid Haram Mosque in Mecca. This is considered the most important mosque for Islam because the pilgrimage to this place is one of the 5 pillars of this religion. This relic dates back to the time of Adam and Eve, as it was sent to paradise from heaven. According to the Muslim story, the stone, when it arrived, was white as milk, but due to the sins of the human being, it changed its color until it reached its current home. When praying, all Muslims should pray in the direction of the Kaaba and the black stone. As important as it is in their culture, believers of Islam do not worship these relics, as they can only worship Allah. Excuse me. Banking crisis. According to the Atlantis report, a banking crisis is coming. We are experiencing an economy in free fall in both the manufacturing and service sectors. Debt and deficits are exploding, and they are calling it a booming economy, when in reality we are headed for depression, while people are suffering from poverty and homelessness. The dollar has been falling steadily for a year. There is a lot of bearish forecasting going on in the Twitter investment communities. China is buying gold massively. The European Union has managed to balance its budget by cutting spending, and the US is the only one left printing dollars. Billions of stimulus money disappearing into the stock market sky. When the government has control of the market, they will take it higher and higher to fund programs. The markets are now the engine that drives social security, retirement accounts, pensions, etc. The massive influx of new welfare cash is about to hit and drive the next stage. Trillion in deficits run away social programs. I mean social infrastructure investment. 20 million workers collecting unemployment benefits, a largest budget deficit in the history of the modern world. The dollar has already weakened so much that every additional stock purchase by the Fed weakens the dollar exponentially. They have created a perfect storm. If that continues, then the US may collapse the stock market as the only option to save dollars. We are one step away from hyperinflation. Germany. In Germany, coal-fired power plants have been and are being shut down. Germany's contribution to the prevention of alleged human-induced climate change, while 800 new coal-fired power plants are being built in China. But we need the so-called fly ash, the waste product of coal-fired power plants, for cement production. So what will happen? Since we cannot produce low-quality cement, we will have to import this fly ash by land and sea, of course, and with a lot of fossil fuel burning. A new world must be built from small to large, from regional to national. It starts with an intact family or team, continues with a village, ends at some point in a state. But no one who runs a village, a region, a state, or a country in the future should think that it goes according to his will. The will of each people will be decisive and will have problems if the chief does not implement it. The sovereign people, which we all will be, will no longer let themselves be ruled and humiliated. Our planet will become a showcase planet for communities. We will live with nature for nature's sake, healthy and alive. We will respect all creations. We will be reasonable and careful with our resources. I'm sure we can all do this. Creative imagination. According to Paris Dethra, in ancient Greek mythology, mankind was given epinoia, creative imagination, from the Divine Mother Sophia, and her daughter Zoe, the life force. Creative imagination is not an abstract term, and doesn't mean living in dreamland. It is the actual power given by the Creator so that we can co-create. We are supposed to determine our own life and are able, as Jesus said, to do all the things he did. His main message, in fact, was, "You will do greater things than me." That is true sovereignty, and we lost our knowledge of that when we became adulterated and lost our connection to the Spirit that created us and the nature that gave us our bodies. Our return to sovereignty is based on this understanding. It is only by remembering who we are and where we came from that we can find the strength to stop being afraid and obeying the false authorities that so happily take control in place of our inner knowing. And all they had to do to take over is scare us. The truth about us. As innately good beings, we are part of a benevolent creative self-ordering universe, no matter what country we live in. We are all endowed with conscience, the voice of our natural morality that guides us like an autopilot, to treat each other with kindness and respect and maintain our balance as a group. We always know when we are, of course, when we pay attention to how we feel throughout inner awareness. The sociopath's trademark is that he or she doesn't pay attention to that inner knowing and is therefore capable of harm because he or she doesn't care. Without that quality of relating to each other, it is every man for himself. The function of feeling is here to enable us to live together in harmony as the extended family we really are. If we trusted in our natural godness and used this feeling function along with our innate creativity, human society would express itself freely and happily as God-guided anarchy. But we have become very confused about our true nature. We have learned to listen to dark voices inside and outside of us that tell us that we cannot be trusted and that we must control ourselves and we must control each other. These voices tell us that life itself and nature are so inherently suspect. But are they so wise that they should be trusted over the voice of our true nature? In believing these dark voices, we have almost lost our ability to distinguish truth from lies, and have surrendered our natural rhythm and with it our natural peace. Instead of paying attention to how we feel, we begin to think and imagine negatively, and worry and doubt appear. When with fear and low compression, we freeze or speed up. Without sensitivity and driven by false conclusions, our inner connection is cut off and we cannot act in balanced, harmonious way with each other and with nature. Our behavior becomes wrong and full of mistakes, and then we become even more frightened. We create guilt, which prevents us from looking at ourselves, and this compounds our error or mistake and leads to the creation of evil, the end result of deliberate and repeated unconsciousness. One's willingness to resist knowing the truth is all it takes to make things worse. Deliberate ignorance is the real disease in our world. Republic. A republic is the transition from the incompetence of the masses to the corruption of the few. No republic has ever worked, and it has always been controlled by financiers. Rome was destroyed by usury until all the soldier farmers were driven from the land by usury indebtedness, by the corruption of the few. Then the army of Rome became a professional army instead of a citizen soldiers, and the empire ended with the facade of a Roman republic. The usury system doesn't work, since the gold with which is genuine money cannot procreate. So if you have 180,000 tons in the world loaned at 10% interest or usury payable in 1 year, then it cannot be paid because it doesn't exist, and all property gradually gravitates to the usurer. Survival. Survival of the smartest or the meanest decimates the world's population, according to Peter B. Mayer. The Anunnaki changed the frequency of the Earth and its polarization into negative polarity, destined for war and destruction. When more die, the better they can control and manipulate the rest. Debt money indebts people and turns them into debt slaves. Conspiracy theorists classify themselves as negative doom seekers, while the opposite is true. They are the real truth hunters. People are so thoroughly brainwashed that the positive has become negative. Sheep live in a world of illusion, where democracy is promoted as freedom, while in reality it is a dictatorship where 51% rule the remaining 49%, assuming there are clean elections, and the concept of anarchy has changed to insurrection. While they originally meant self-government. Thanks to our digital soldiers, truth and honesty are coming out of the woodwork, all around us. Unfortunately, the sheeple continue to believe their government's lies and publicly say that awakened truth seekers are doom hunters and depressing trouble catchers. As comedian Josh Carlin said, they don't want well-informed, well-educated, critically thinking people. They want obedient workers, people who are smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork, and dumb enough to take all these increasingly boring jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits to end of overtime, and the pension that vanishes, disappears the moment you go to pick it up. Throughout their ownership of multinationals, they control all governments and by extension are food, water, electricity and commodities. These people will aspire to trade, share and cooperate rather than steal and commit corruption, which is at the heart of progress and prosperity. This means, in other words, the more you want, the more innovative and better products you will have to produce. Plus the many advantages such as sufficient money and income for all, free energy, clean environment, and healthy food and products. A truly golden age is upon us as our reward. We will build on completely new foundations to establish a people's economy based on the QFS monetary system, free markets, and innovative self-government governing communities led by fellow citizens. And that's all for today. I wish you a good week. Thanks a lot, friends.